Hey guys, welcome back to True Crime with Shannon, where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Alright, y'all, so there's some more Delphi news today, and we're going to get into that. But before we do, I always feature a missing persons poster on the channel, so let me pull up today's missing persons poster. Today's missing person is going to be Katelynn Andrea Lobo. She's a 15-year-old that's missing, it looks like, out of Miami. It states that she was last seen on November 7th, 2022 at 6:30 a.m. at John A. Ferguson High School in Miami, Florida. She was last seen wearing a black hoodie, black pants, and black Crocs with a black backpack. Police contact Detective D. Rhodes at 786-385-3447 or 995 rather, cops, or via email at drrhodes@dadeschools.net. If you have any information about Katelynn's whereabouts, or of course you can always call 911. So there's not really an official poster for her, so there was a photo and this missing child alert on Twitter, so I just threw it together. So it looks like she's wearing some sort of barista outfit, so I'm not sure if she's works with coffee or something. So, but if you have any information on Katelynn Alexandra Lobo out of Miami, please contact the authorities. All right, I'm actually going to do one more missing today, and I've featured this one on the channel before, so let me pull up the other one here. So the second missing person is going to be Haylee Cummings. And again, I've featured her on the channel before. She's been missing since August 9th of 2022 out of Muncie, Indiana. Her date of birth is January 13th of 2006. She's 16 years old right now. It's a female, white female, light brown hair, brown eyes, 5'4", 155 pounds. They're stating Haylee may be still in the local area, or she may travel to Whites or Cartersville, Georgia. Her ears are pierced. Haylee wears braces on her teeth. So there is a photo of her. And I know there's another poster or two out there, so I'm going to see if I can find that and post a link if they've got a Facebook group or anything for Haylee, because she's been missing since August, so it's been a little while. But if you have any information on Haylee, please contact 911, and as well as the previous missing person out of Miami. So we've got some Delphi updates today in regards to Richard Allen. And he apparently has written a letter from jail begging for a defense lawyer. I have learned later this afternoon that this was actually written before he was transferred into the state custody. So this probably was written last week. I believe he was transferred last week to state custody. And this is from Law and Crime. It's also on Fox 59. Multiple outlets are covering this one, obviously. So let's see. Days after it was reported that the Delphi murder suspect was moved to a secret location, 50-year-old Richard Matthew Allen penned a letter from jail and begged the court to appoint him a defense counsel as his home life falls apart. And we do have a copy of the letter, a scanned copy, so I'm going to pull that up as well. Allen is charged as the person who murdered Libby German, 14, and Abigail Abby Williams, 13, before abandoning their bodies near an old railroad deck girder bridge that is now a recreational trail. The girls vanished while walking the Monon High Bridge near Delphi, Indiana, back on February 13th, 2017. The trail traverses an abandoned stretch of the old Monon Railroad and is named accordingly. The authorities have indicated that the girls likely lost a considerable amount of blood, that the girls' bodies were moved and staged where they were found, and that the killer or killers took a souvenir from the scene. The existence of the letter from jail was first reported by Fox 59. So again, Fox 59 is the key here. So Law and Crime got this info from them. So I'm going to include a link to them as well. Law and Crime reached out to the Carroll County Clerk's office in Indiana regarding the letter, but the call went to voicemail, and a recording noted that the office closes at noon on Wednesday. Wow. Well, I guess they don't have a big staff, as we've learned, down in Carroll County, so... Law and Crime can confirm, however, that the public docket in the Allen case shows that he filed a letter requesting appointment of a public defender. The letter obtained by Fox 59, which has the Carroll Circuit Court clerk's stamp and signature on it, fundamentally made the same request, but in dire terms. In the cause listed above, I, Richard M. Allen, hereby throw myself at the mercy of the court. I am begging to be provided with legal assistance in a public defender or whatever help is available, the letter reportedly began. The letter writer said he had no clue that hiring a private defense attorney in a double murder case of national interest would be this costly. Really? He's kind of out of touch with that, isn't he? The letter also said Allen's wife has had to abandon their home for her own safety. Yeah, from what I've heard, nobody's been living in their house since his arrest, at least that weekend anyway. At my initial hearing on October 28th, 2022, I asked to find representation for myself. However, at the time, I had no clue how expensive it would be just to talk to someone. I also did not realize that my wife and I's immediate financial situation was going to be, the letter continued. We have both been forced to immediately abandon employment, myself due to incarceration, and my wife for her personal safety. She has had to abandon our house for her own safety. What little reserve there is will fail to even maintain the original residence. Again, I throw myself at the mercy of the court. Please provide me whatever assistance you may, the letter went on. Thank you for your time in this most urgent matter. The letter was signed Richard M. Allen. So let me actually pull that up real quick to show you guys. So there's the letter. And it is floating all over social media. So if you're on Facebook, and I actually pulled this from Reddit, but again, it's all over the place at this point. So he hand wrote it. It looks like in pencil from one of his jail cells. Since Allen's arrest in late October, little in the way of actual information or even probable cause have been made public, nor was there any information about whether Allen has had a lawyer. And although it was eventually confirmed that Allen was in custody in White County, the suspect's current whereabouts are secret too. The Indiana Department of Corrections would only confirm that Allen is in state custody. For Mr. Allen's safety, we are not releasing his location at this time, IDOC Communications Director Gregory Dunn told Law and Crime earlier this week. So again, we've already knew that part. They're not going to tell anybody where he is. The previous, everyone involved from the beginning, the judge, and they were all like, the bloodlust for this suspect in this case is just so high. They're not going to risk his safety, and obviously more so the safety of the corrections and other any civilian that might be in that vicinity. So they want to make sure that he's safely locked up so he can have his day in court. Now, there is also a phone call that has been leaked from a source that contacted, from what we could tell, is another inmate that is at the same facility that Richard Allen is in. So I'm going to actually play just part of that phone call, and I'm going to link to where you can find it. I believe it's credited to, and I will include that in the information of this video because I always want to make sure we get credit where credit's due. The audio was originally used with permission of Chris Moyer. From what I understand, Chris Moyer has removed the video from his particular channel, but I got it off Crime Scene to Courtroom, and so, but I'm sure there's many other channels that have picked it up and started to, keep it on their feeds. So there's no shortage of that as far as this case, that's for sure. Okay. So here is the inmate phone call that has been circulating on all over YouTube and Facebook. Again, I'm going to make sure I give credit where credit's due, because anything that is not mine that I haven't received, I always give credit here on the channel. But I'm just going to play a bit of it because it is an almost 15-minute call. So I'm going to include the link in case you want to listen to the rest of the call. So here we go.
Now, we're talking about Richard Allen, the guy that fucking did the Delphi murders. He got transferred, there to Westville when?
Like Thursday. Last Thursday.
Okay. So you know some people that take care of or feed him and stuff?
You're not recording this shit, are you?
No.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah.
I want to make sure to let you guys know there is some language in this. I don't usually use it on here on the channel, so just be prepared for that as well while I continue.
But anyways, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they were actually, they told him the other day, they said, hey, we need you to clean out this observation cell. Clean it out really good. And then he was like, what's going on? Like, man, something's up. Like, everybody's acting all weird. So he cleaned out, he scrubbed this observation room. It's a suicide room. It's on camera. And like 30 officers come in, like state police, the sheriffs, all of them, and they brought him, Richard Allen, in there, in the observation cell.
No shit.
Yeah, so he's on suicide watch, he's on camera, and they are not allowed to bring him food or nothing. The COs bring him the food, but they walk by him, and he's basically been asleep for 3 days. He don't do nothing, he sleeps. And everybody on the ranges are yelling at him, saying, you're not safe anywhere, bitch, we're gonna kill your ass, and they're just hollering at him 24/7.
No shit.
Yeah, and he's laying there acting like he's sleeping the whole time since he's been here for like 3 days.
Dang. You got to provide me with updates, bro, on this guy.
I will. That's why I just went and asked dude that, he's actually the one that cleaned out the observation cell. That's what he called it, observation cell. And the sergeant, it was like, clean this out. And he's like, what's going on? Like, and the sergeant was like, I'll tell you in a minute. And then they're like, you know that fucking dude that killed the Delphi girls? Like, yeah, they're bringing him in here. Like, they said they don't have anywhere in the state, anywhere they can keep him safe.
I bet not.
Mom said that the judge was like, look, I'm ordering him to be sent to Indiana Department of Corrections, and, like, withdrew from the case.
Yeah, the judge is scared, man, because the judge is worried that they're going to be putting pictures of his family and stuff like that on the news and on TV, and the judge even said that his staff can't handle this case, and, like, yeah, I foresee this definitely being transferred. But they called in they said they might have a judge. I did see that.
So I want to know how they found out it's him finally.
Well, bro, what I know, and this is from me, like, keeping an eye on social media and filtering through the crap and not the crap, you know. But, so, I guess they served a search warrant on his home almost 2 weeks to the day of them detaining him. And I heard that the way they got the search warrant was they said that one of the neighbors had something stolen and it was buried in his yard. And that's how they were able to get the search warrant for his place.
And what'd they find?
From what I've seen on social media from the neighbor that was there watching all day long, the neighbor said that the cops rolled in at about noon, and then they had Richard Allen standing out in his driveway for a couple hours, and then Richard Allen's wife pulled up in her minivan, and Richard Allen got into the minivan and sat in the passenger seat with the minivan door open, and then a couple hours after that, I guess it was seen that the sheriff of Delphi showed up with some piece of paper and went and showed it to Richard Allen. And after that, they went ahead and put Richard Allen's vehicle, not the minivan, but his vehicle, they put it on a flatbed tow truck and towed it away, and they searched the house, and they dug in the backyard in 2 different spots that were little burn piles. And then it was getting dark, but the neighbor was watching with binoculars and seen them carry out a shoebox, 2 different dark cloth items, and a Macy's bag. And I think maybe one other thing, but I'm not for certain about that. But I also heard on social media that they had been watching Richard Allen, and he had recently burnt something in his backyard. So this is what I believe most might have happened. That's all speculation, but still, this is kind of what I think.
Okay, so obviously he's doing some speculation as well when he's talking to his inmate. I guess they're friends, from what I'm gathering, but this is an inmate in the same facility that Richard Allen is currently being held in. And as you get through the phone call, like I said, it's like almost 15 minutes, the entire call. This inmate is in jail, so he has no idea about a lot of this information. So he kind of fills him in on it as he goes along. And at the end, you hear it say, "You got 1 more minute of time." So we're going to see if this guy releases any more phone calls talking to this inmate. So, this inmate seems to be a little nosy and spread some information. But that was the other piece that came out today on Richard Allen. It kind of gave us an idea about what's going on. And he's in this observation room, and he's being watched, and he's, the inmate stating that he can't be given anything but what they give him, probably the 3 meals a day from the COs on their trays or whatever they do. And he's just sleeping. And obviously now he's written that letter before he got into IDOC custody, and he's saying, I need a lawyer. I have no money enough to afford this. I don't have a job anymore, obviously. Now you're probably going to be in jail forever. And my wife, she can't work at this point, so I need help. And, I don't know why he didn't think of that to begin with, but who knows? I'm sure he didn't ever think he would be caught, obviously, almost 6 years later. But so that was the call and the update on Richard Allen. And there's a bit of an update on Kegan Kline as well. So let me pull that up. All right, and we're back to Law and Crime. And I didn't have this up actually earlier, so made it super easy. It's on Facebook, but this is a little more organized if I pull it up from Law and Crime. Man linked to Delphi murders case by online chat with victim files motion to delay his CSAM trial, citing negotiations with prosecutors. I remember we said that they dropped 5 charges, I believe. So I'm sure this is going to confirm what has been dropped and what's still pending. An Indiana man charged with CSAM-related offenses and linked to the investigation of the Delphi murders has asked the judge overseeing his case for a trial delay based upon ongoing negotiations with law enforcement. Kegan Anthony Kline, 27, is not charged in connection with those murders. Rather, he stands accused of 30 felony charges, including possession of CSAM, child exploitation, synthetic identity deception, and obstruction of justice. Investigators allege that he used several fake online profiles to solicit nude images from underage girls. Yeah, he's gross. We already know that Kegan's pretty gross. A trial over those charges is currently slated for January 2023. In a Tuesday motion, defense attorney Andrew A. Akey requested that the start of the trial be pushed back 4 months to May 2023. The parties are currently engaged in negotiations, the motion says. Prosecutor Peter Tetrich was contacted regarding this motion, and he has no objection to the motion. Well, sure, we'll keep him in jail as long as we can. I mean, that part, I don't think we have a problem with that. Keeping his sick self in jail, plus on my side. Someone using one of Kline's profiles, Anthony Schatz, is alleged to have spoken with German on the day she died. He reportedly had told someone else that the girl had never showed up to a planned meeting. Kline has disclaimed any involvement in the slayings, but allegedly acknowledged that online discussion in an interview with law enforcement. His home was raided and searched by the FBI just 11 days after the girls' bodies were found in 2017. He was questioned again and charged in August 2020. I literally have no clue how that girl died, Kline reportedly told investigators. I don't know anything to do with it. Yeah, that's weird ass coincidence that I happened to talk to her. Like, I get that. Yeah, it's really weird, Kegan. German's grandmother, Becky Patty, recently spoke with Fox News about Kline's account, raising doubts about his story. I know for a fact that this Anthony Schatz account did have contact with Libby, Patty told Fox News senior correspondent Laura Ingle. I feel that he knows more than he says. I completely agree with you, Becky. Documents relating to Kline's connection, tangible as of now with the murders of German and Williams, were accidentally posted online, according to Fox News. The Indianapolis-based NBC affiliate WTHR, however, said that the document, a 194-page transcript, had been obtained by way of an open records request search filed by a podcast known as the Murder Sheet. Regardless of the document's provenance, it has since been sealed by the court overseeing Kline's case. That veil of secrecy, a bit belated and haphazard, is of a piece with the case, since Richard Matthew Allen, 50, was charged with the girls' murders in October of this year. Very little information has been made public. Even the location of the defendant is currently a secret. Allen recently requested a public defender in a letter to the court, saying he did not anticipate the cost of a private defense attorney. He initially said he would obtain one himself during a hearing late last month. So that repeats the end of that. I honestly think that Anthony Schatz account, the catfishing, I think there's still something to that with connection to Libby. I really do. And I think Becky, I believe Becky sees it just as much as we do. Whether or not Kegan or Tony were present at the trails or the bridge that day, that remains to be seen. However, I do believe that Kegan and or Tony, they had something to do with the catfishing account in connection with Libby. And for my thinking is there's some kind of connection between either Kline or both Klines and Richard Allen. There's some kind of connection there. And they've already said there was pinging off of his phone at his residence. 2 different phones were pinging. The investigators told Kegan during that interview that the Murder Sheet was able to obtain months and months ago. So did Kegan sell some kind of burner phone to Richard Allen? That's something that's been tossed up in the air. Was he present and he just kind of helped clean up or pick up Richard? I don't know. I mean, there's some sort of connection, in my opinion, with the whole CSAM catfishing stuff and Richard Allen. He just seems like, to me, my personal opinion, he's just really also a very sick man. And as gross as Kegan is, I mean, I think Richard's probably just as gross. So I think that they probably knew each other. We haven't been able to kind of piece that all together yet. But I think that probably a lot of that sealed affidavit and all that information that we're going to be waiting on, maybe it mentions Kegan in there. We don't know. So for all we know, Tony's still, lingering on the side here. We have no idea how many folks, could be involved in that. And they just did a huge, big sting arrest with a bunch of CSAM arrests. So how much does that Anthony Schatz account come into some of this with Abby and Libby? Who knows? But I do think for some reason that the Klines, one or the other or both, they knew Richard Allen. Something about it, something tells me, my spidey sense tells me that they knew each other. And it's alleged I haven't gotten confirmation on it, and if any of you guys have, let me know, that Richard once lived in Peru, Indiana. So then that's where the Klines live. So they're all small towns. Everybody seems to know everybody around that, that area. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if, Richard got a hold of it and he's the one that went there to meet the girls. So who knows? And we still don't know if Richard Allen has had any other crimes that he's committed. Again, the Evansdale murders have been brought up as a possible that he was a part of that. Is there any other cases that are unsolved? Does Richard have a part of? So his DNA, his all that DNA is going to become huge evidence to see if any of this relates. I know the Evansdale is huge, and I want to definitely dive into that one because that's something that's really intrigued me a while. And now with Delphi, I don't know, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? They were two young girls, and they went out for a bike ride and never came back. So, Abby and Libby, they went out for a walk on the trail, and they never came back. So we'll see if there's any ties there. All right, so this was it for today. I wanted to get this out there tonight, and if some of you guys may have heard about it, but let me know in the comments what you think of all this stuff. Again, Richard Allen is begging. That's what the letter's saying. He's begging the court to give him an attorney. And as much as we all dislike him, and that's putting it mildly, guys, as much as we have hatred for him if he is BG, he has a right, like everybody else, to a proper defense and a lawyer. And if he gets a appointed defense attorney from the state, I don't know. There are some that are good. So, I guess we're going to see what happens. Nobody's obviously coming forward as of yet to say, hey, I'll represent you, Mr. Allen. So I think that the judge is going to be appointing him an attorney. If not this week, I'm sure probably next week. We're probably going to hear that. And then I think this is going to move all his trials out because he's got no lawyer at this point. So he needs to have a lawyer, and he has to be able to sit down with his lawyer in jail so that he can discuss what charges are against him. So, like I said, regardless of what we think of him, he's got rights just like everybody else. And that's going to be it for today. I hope you have a great rest of the day or evening. And most of all, stay safe.